Hey everyone, I just wanted to go over line plots with you. Maybe you can watch this and then just a little bit more review. When we are making line plots, all we're really doing is putting little dots, right? But before we do that, we have to label our line, which are what you see with the arrows. Usually when we start, we always have to have a 0. And then you have to go in order. You can't skip any numbers. You have to just start in order. So this could be like 1, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And this little arrow here means that it goes on forever. And that's what a line is. We can start wherever we want with line numbers. Line order, we call it, right? But usually I like to start, we should always start at 0. And then, like all of your lessons today, are starting in fractions. So, and we're in eighths. So we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, right? And this number line can go on forever. And 8/8 is the same as 1. If I start back here, here's 1/8, here's 2/8. That's the same thing as saying 1/4, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Over here, we're going to reduce this, so we are reducing what we can, or simplifying what we can. 4/8 is the same thing as 1/2. And if you think about it, 4 is half of 8, so that's 1/2. Oh, that's a bad 2. Let me do. And then we go over here to 6/8, which is the same thing as saying 3/4, because 6 divided by 2 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So when you're making a line order, it has to go in order. So if I decide to make another line, I have to stay the same increments. So 0, I can do count by 5s, but I'm counting by 5. So look, here's 5. And if you're counting by 5s, then the next number would be 10. The next number would be 15, because here we're counting by 5s, here we're counting by 1s, and this one we're counting by 1/8. So let's go back up to the top. So 0, 5, 10, 15, what would be next? 20, 25, 30, right? Increments of 5s, 1s, this is by 1s, and then down here is by 8ths. Remember, we used to plot the same way. Here we could have day Monday through Friday. So you start in order: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's still considered a line, but here is 0, right? When we did graphing. But notice how I went in order. This one, when we go up, you have to have the same intervals, just like we did on the previous page, right? What I just said. So I'm going to count by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is just different. This is graphing, okay? And we've done this in Unit 7, okay? This here is the days of the week, and here are maybe I'm counting the number of days or number of pages in a book I've read, okay? So, graphing is a little bit different than line plots. Quickly what tally marks are. It seemed like you were having a little difficulty with tally marks, so let's start. When people tally, they're just making points. So we have, this is 1. Another one would be 2. So let me do this. This is 3, so this is 1, 2, 3. This 4 slashes would be 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. Now 6 would be this 5 plus this 1. So we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one more. We'd start all over by 6. So what we do with tallies, that we count kind of by 5s, groups of 5s. Okay, so if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so this 5 plus 5 would be 10, right? Because this is 5 and this is 5, okay? So tallies. So when you continue, you just start over after you cross. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So here's 5, 5, and a 1. So that would be 5, 10, 11 total. Okay, so tally marks. Every time you put on a slash, it's worth 1. And then when you get to a group, you get to the 4th tally mark in a row, then you have to cross, which then becomes 5. Let's look at this table. This table, we are reading table, and it's telling us information that we are eventually going to plot. This one is the title. Okay, title is telling us what we're dealing with. It says diameter of beads in inches. So diameter means how wide, right? So here's 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inches, and 1/2 inches. Right next to it, I'm going to see if I can do this. Right next to it, right here, straight across, this entire table, they go together. And then this two things go together. So 1/8, there are 5 beads that are 1/8 of a diameter. This one says there are 1, 2, 3 tally marks, right? That tell us 1/4 inch. Down here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tally marks that are 3/8 of an inch, and then finally we have 2 that are 1/2 an inch. So those go together. All right, let's first label what we're talking about. So your labeling goes down to this, and it says diameter of beads. Okay, now if you look right here, you have your line. And remember, at the beginning, you have to put the numbers on a number line before you can plot. So like I said, always start with 0. Now, if you look back here at this box or this table, we need to start looking at this row first. What is the smallest unit that we need to do? It looks like 1/8. So now I'm going to go back to here. Whoops, I need black. So here is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, and 6/8. And I don't think I need any more. Now what you're going to do is you're going to plot. So look at 1/8 says it's 5 beads. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1/4 says right here, how many? 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go to 1/4, which is the same thing as 1/2. Remember, 2/8 is the same thing as 1/4. 4/8 is the same thing as 1/2. And 6/8 is the same thing as 3/4, right? Because they're all divisible by 2. So now let's go back here. 2, 1/4 has 3. So here's 1/4. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go to 3/8. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1/2 has only 2. So here's the 1/2. So that's 1, 2. So this right here is your line plots. This whole thing is what your line plot is. The dots are the same thing as your tallies. Okay?